Hello, my name is Jenny Pakula. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Oregon Realtors. Thank you for volunteering your time and expertise to serve as an Oregon Realtors Director. Because this is such an important position for the association, I'm here to provide you with a brief overview of the fiduciary duties associated with your role as a Director of the Oregon Realtors. But before I dive into an overview of your fiduciary duties, I'd like to remind you that the Oregon Realtors is committed to conducting all meetings and events in a professional, ethical, and lawful manner, including adherence to all antitrust laws. This means meeting topics will focus on advancing the interests of real estate professionals and consumers of real estate services, increasing competition, reducing risk for all parties involved in real estate transactions, and sharing insights on business best practices. Any topic dealing with commissions, limiting products or services, refusal to deal with market participants, allocating geographical territory, or disparagement of competitors is prohibited and will not be tolerated. Now for the fiduciary duties. I'll be covering the fiduciary duties of care, obedience, accounting, confidentiality, and loyalty. First, the duty of care requires directors to attend to the affairs of the association as they would their own business. For example, you must prepare for, attend, and pay attention during the Board of Directors meetings. If you show up without having read the materials, or if you're distracted by your mobile phone during the meeting, you may not be adequately satisfying your fiduciary duty of care. Second, the duty of obedience requires directors to abide by the policies, bylaws, and other governing documents of the association, and to support the decisions of the Board of Directors. For example, if you as a director vote against a motion that is eventually adopted by the Board of Directors, once that decision is made, you must support it. A director who badmouths or otherwise undermines the board's decisions could be violating their fiduciary duty to the association. Next, the duty of accounting requires you to safeguard and preserve the association's assets by ensuring that proper procedures and controls are adopted and followed to that end. And of course, the duty of confidentiality prohibits directors from disclosing or sharing any non-public information made known as a result of your leadership position in the association. Last but not least, the duty of loyalty requires you to always act in the best interest of the association rather than in your own interest or the interest of another person or entity. This means you should aim to avoid conflicts of interest and must disclose them when they do arise. Typical conflicts may involve transactions between the association and another entity in which you have an interest. For example, if the association president lists the association's building for sale, that could create a conflict of interest, which could be problematic if the terms and conditions are more favorable to the president's listing firm than they would be for another listing firm. Another type of conflict can occur when a leader shows favoritism or awards benefits only to certain members or groups of members. The key to resolving conflicts is to identify them as early as possible and to resolve them so that you do not participate in an action that could appear to afford you unique benefits at the expense of the association. In general, the standard for determining whether a conflict has been adequately resolved is whether the best interests of the association are served and whether the transaction or other action raising the conflict is objectively fair to the association. Adhering to the duty of loyalty becomes complex when members serve as an officer or director of multiple organizations, such as serving as a director for both the local and state association of realtors. These multi-board directors owe fiduciary duties to multiple organizations. The duties they owe to one organization prevents them from giving undivided allegiance to the other organization that they serve. Then they must address that conflict of interest in adherence with the policies of each organization. Fiduciary duties are serious and important responsibilities, but you are not expected to be perfect. Association officers and directors will not be held legally liable for mistakes as long as you always act in good faith and strive to serve the best interests of the association. Congratulations and best of luck to all of you who have undertaken the important role of serving as an Oregon Realtors Director. Thank you for your time and commitment to the betterment of the association and the industry.